In this world, a deadly creature has attacked, wiping out almost all of humanity. Only a few survivors remain, desperately struggling to stay alive. Our story begins with a girl named Blair, who is living alone in a deserted house. She hasn't seen another human in a long time and is entirely focused on surviving. Blair has a walkie-talkie, clinging to the hope that someday someone might contact her. One day, she steps outside her house and stumbles upon a strange place. It looks like an old shelter somewhere humans might have once taken refuge, but now it's completely abandoned. As Blair cautiously explores the shelter, she finds some much-needed supplies, a bottle of water and a few medicines. She quickly stuffs them into her bag. But then, a chilling realization hits. Hirsch is not alone. Terrified, she doesn't waste a second and runs back to her safe spot. Once home, Blair resumes her usual routine. She eats, reads books, and keeps herself busy, trying to hold on to a sense of normalcy in a world that's anything but normal. Blair keeps staring at her walkie-talkie, just hoping that someone might respond. But deep down, she knows that in this desolate world, there's probably no one left alive. Far away, a boy named Tommy is also fighting for his life. Suddenly, the deadly creatures appear at the place he's been staying. Without a second to lose, he bolts, running for his safety. In the chaos, his bag filled with essential supplies falls to the ground. But survival comes first, so he leaves the bag behind and finds a safe spot to hide. He spends the entire night shrouded in fear, keeping himself hidden. As soon as morning comes, Tommy musters his courage and returns to the place where his bag fell. He retrieves it and quickly decides to move somewhere safer. Tommy also has a walkie-talkie, and he tries reaching out to anyone, anywhere. By a stroke of luck, this time, it works. He connects with Blair. It's the first time in ages that he's heard another human voice. Excited and relieved, Tommy tells Blair that he's stuck atop a high arrow tower with deadly creatures lurking below. Blair quickly comes up with an idea. She points out a window in the tower that he can use to escape safely. Following her advice, Tommy climbs down and slips out through the window, narrowly saving his life thanks to Blair's guidance. The next morning, he returns to retrieve his bag and walkie-talkie, then moves on to a safer location. Excited, Tommy calls Blair to let her know he made it out alive. Overjoyed, Blair tells him how wonderful it feels to hear another human voice after so long. Curious,
Ami
asks where she's been staying. Blair explains that she's been living in an old abandoned house. She reveals that she stays there to hide from both people and the creatures, and that she hasn't had the courage to venture far. Then Tommy shares his plan with her. He tells her about a mountain peak far away where his family used to live. He believes that if he can reach that place, he'll be safe and maybe, just maybe, he won't encounter any creatures there. Blair becomes instantly intrigued when she hears Tommy's plan. She admits that she's tired of being alone and wants to join him on the journey. However, she warns him that their walkie-talkies have limited battery life, so they can only communicate 3 times a day. Both of them agree to move carefully and meet at the mountain peak. Blair quickly packs her supplies and gets ready to leave, while Tommy continues his journey. Along the way, hunger strikes him hard. But he knows that in this harsh, post-apocalyptic world, every step must be calculated. Tommy has some food with him, but he resists eating it immediately. He knows his journey will be long, and finishing his supplies too soon could make things much harder later. So, he exercises restraint and presses on. Meanwhile, Blair moves steadily forward as well. She enters an abandoned house, hoping to find something to eat. With the world now deserted, most homes are empty. Moving cautiously and making no noise, she searches for anything edible. During her journey, we even see Blair catch a rabbit, which she cooks and eats. She also discovers a pair of headphones and begins listening to music. In this desolate and dangerous world, music becomes her only companion. Elsewhere, Tommy tries approaching an old bus, hoping to find some food inside. But as soon as he peeks in, strange and unsettling noises come from within. Terrified, he quickly retreats and finds a safe spot to sit. After a while, he takes out his walkie-talkie and contacts Blair. She immediately asks, "Did you manage to eat something?" Tommy replies, "No, not yet," to which Blair gives him some advice. She says there are empty houses all around. You can grab food from anywhere, just don't make any noise. If anyone or anything finds out, it could cost you your life. In the middle of their conversation, Tommy asks Blair a personal question. If we both survive and finally meet, where would you want to go? Blair pauses for a moment, then replies, her voice tinged with a hint of sadness. I've always dreamed of going to New York. My family and I had so many dreams about that city. But while my father was alive, that dream never came true. Her tone grows even more somber as she continues. The only reminder I have of my father now is a single photograph. That's all I have left. After a moment, Blair turns the conversation toward Tommy, asking about his story. He responds quietly, "I'm nothing special. All I have from my father is one keepsake, his necklace. I always keep it with me because it gives me a reason to live. Hope." He pauses, his voice heavy with emotion. "When my father passed away, I scattered his ashes into the sea." Tommy continues, his voice heavy with emotion. "I scattered my father's ashes into the sea. If I survive this destruction, one day I'll return to that shoreline to finally say my last goodbye to him." Blair listens carefully and then says, "It's getting late. You should find a new place to sleep before night falls. Let's talk again at 9 o'clock tonight." With that, Blair resumes her journey. She eventually reaches an abandoned church. The entire place is eerily silent, until she encounters a strange woman inside. The woman speaks in a bizarre, unsettling tone. She says God is punishing us for our sins. Humans committed so many wrongs, and now they must face the consequences. Blair, anger rising, responds firmly. If your God were real, he wouldn't let humans die. Humans are his children, and no God would ever leave his children to die alone. So stop preaching your useless wisdom. With that, she storms out and continues on her journey. As night falls, Tommy enters an empty house, searching for food and supplies. After some effort, he manages to find a little to eat. But as he tries to leave, his eyes fall upon a deadly creature. Panicked, he bolts but trips and falls to the ground. In the next moment, the creature lands right on top of him. Tommy braces himself, thinking this is the end. Surprisingly, the creature doesn't attack him. It glares at him for a moment, then leaves. Heart racing, Tommy scrambles to a safe spot, barely escaping with his life. His breaths come in short gasps, his heart pounding. Immediately, he grabs his walkie-talkie and calls Blair. "A creature attacked me," he says, "but it didn't hurt me. Somehow, I survived." Blair is shocked. "How is that even possible?" she asks, stunned. Blair says, "Until now, anyone who's ever come into contact with these creatures hasn't survived. So what was different this time?" Tommy's voice grows heavy. Slowly, he says, "When these creatures first appeared, they killed my father. They killed my mother. And my sister too. I was the only one who survived. I couldn't even help my father. And now, I don't know who I'm supposed to live for anymore." His voice breaks, filled with helplessness, and he begins to cry. Blair gently tries to calm him down. "Tommy, we're still alive," she says softly. "You have to stay alive for me. Don't give up. If your father were here, would he want to see you surrender like this? Of course not. We have to stay strong and reach the mountain peak. We'll meet there soon. Just hold on to your faith." We talk for a little while longer before ending the call. Blair then continues her journey. Along the way, she comes across an abandoned car, rusted and useless. She decides to stay there for the night. Meanwhile, Tommy also finds a safe spot. He lights a small fire and settles in, preparing himself to get through the night. As morning breaks, Blair opens her eyes, but as she tries to get her bearings, her gaze falls on a creature standing outside the car. Goosebumps rise on her skin. Before she can react, the creature attacks the car. Blair scrambles to get out. As she steps outside, the creature lunges at her, but showing incredible courage. She uses the car window to strike it, somehow managing to kill it. The battle leaves her shaken to the core. She collapses near the car and begins to cry. This life facing death every single day, feeling danger with every step, it's just too much. After a few moments, she gathers herself and grabs her walkie-talkie to call Tommy. "Tommy," she says, her voice tense, "a creature just attacked me." And the scariest part is that it happened in broad daylight. Before, they only came out at night. But now, they're learning. They're evolving. This could be extremely dangerous for us. Tommy's voice, filled with concern, responds. Tommy responds with urgency. "We'll have to move faster now. I can reach the mountain peak in about a day and a half. You need to get there as soon as possible, too. We have to survive, no matter what." With that, both of them continue their journeys, holding on to the hope that they'll meet at the mountain peak, their last remaining hope in a world destroyed beyond recognition. As Blair keeps walking, she eventually reaches a railway track. She sits there for a while and takes out her camera, clicking photographs. This seems to have become a habit for her, in capturing every moment, just to remind herself that she's still alive, and that maybe somewhere, a trace of humanity still exists. Meanwhile, Tommy enters a deserted house. Inside, there's a stable where a few horses have somehow survived. As he's surveying the place, a girl suddenly appears in front of him. She's in terrible condition, weak and exhausted from hunger. The girl looks at Tommy and says, "Give me the bag you're carrying. I'll let you go. Otherwise, I might kill you." Tommy feels pity for her condition, but he also knows he can't afford to give away his essential supplies. Tommy refuses to give her the bag, and the girl becomes furious. She starts growling and threatening him. When Tommy doesn't back down, she suddenly attacks. Tommy ducks into a corner to hide, but then another danger appears. A creature, resembling the girl in some way, spots them both. The girl screams in terror. Tommy doesn't hesitate. He runs as fast as he can. Unfortunately, the girl isn't so lucky. She gets caught by the creature and dies instantly. Tommy wastes no time and moves far away, finally finding a safe spot. He tries to contact Blair over the walkie-talkie, but there's no response. She might have turned hers off. In reality, Blair herself wasn't safe. As she moves past the railway tracks, a creature suddenly attacks her. She has no way to escape and braces herself to fight. But before she can react, an old man appears out of nowhere. Using his weapon, he kills the creature instantly, before Blair can even process what happened. The man takes her to his home. There, he tends to her wounds, bandaging her injuries and even making her a cup of tea. Catching her breath, Blair asks him softly, "Why? Why did you help me?" The old man smiles and says, "What else could I have done?" Blair asks him, "Do you live here alone?" The man nods and replies, "My wife used to live here with me, but when those creatures arrived, they killed her. Somehow I survived," pauses, and then adds quietly, "Now I tell myself that at least she's free from this hell." After a while, Blair turns her walkie-talkie back on and tries to contact Tommy. She tells him that an old man saved her life. Tommy sounds cautious and asks, "Do you trust him?" "Just this morning, a woman attacked me and I barely made it out alive." Blair replies with confidence, "Yes, I trust him. If he wanted to, he could have left me there to die. But instead, he saved me, fed me, and took care of my wounds. People like this are very rare in this world now. If we survive, maybe one day we'll live the same way on some distant farmhouse without fear." After saying this, Blair suddenly begins talking about her mother. Her voice grows heavy as she says, "My mother and I." Blair continues, her voice trembling. "One night we were sleeping when a creature suddenly attacked us. My mother tried her best to stop it. She told me to run, but I couldn't. I watched her struggle. There was no hope for her to survive. I had a gun with only one bullet tanned. I used it on my mother because I couldn't bear to see her suffer any longer." As soon as she says this, Blair breaks down, crying. Tommy tries to comfort her. "What you did, it was the right thing," he says gently. "Leaving someone to suffer like that would have been wrong too." Blair takes a moment to compose herself and goes back inside the house. The old man had overheard everything. Quietly, he says, "What you did. It took a lot of courage. Not everyone could have done the same." Blair looks at him, and for the first time, she truly understands that surviving in this world requires not just strength, but a strong heart as well, James. The old man listens carefully and takes a deep breath. "Something similar happened with my wife," he admits. "I tried everything I could to save her, but I failed. Even today, that memory." James continues, his voice heavy with sorrow. "I live every day with that pain. I couldn't save my wife. But maybe that's why I helped you. At least this time, I was able to save someone's life." He then gives Blair a bag filled with food and supplies. "You need to head north now," he tells her. "Your friend is waiting for you there. And remember this, if you ever need a place to stay, the doors of this house will always be open for you. I may not have much time left, but as long as I'm here, this home is yours." Blair thanks him and sets off on her journey. Meanwhile, Tommy is sitting in a deserted area, eating the last of his food. Suddenly, he senses that someone or something is nearby. His heart races, and before he can react, a creature lunges at him from the darkness. Tommy fights with all his strength, trying desperately to survive. But the creature is vicious and extremely dangerous. Then, his eyes catch a large rock nearby. Summoning all his energy, he grabs it, preparing to. Tommy swings the rock with all his might and strikes the creature on the head. The creature screams in pain and collapses instantly. Tommy exhales in relief, but he knows this battle isn't over yet. He quickly grabs his walkie-talkie to contact Blair, but the battery dies. At the same time, Blair also wants to reach Tommy, but her walkie-talkie has stopped working too. Instead of giving up, she grabs another walkie-talkie and continues her journey. Tommy, moving through the ruins, eventually reaches a house. Exhausted, he falls asleep there. The next morning, he is startled awake by a knock at the door. He opens it to find Blair standing there. Relief and joy shine in both of their eyes. After months of struggle, this moment feels like a victory. They embrace, laughing and talking for what seems like hours. "We don't need to go anywhere else," Blair says. "We'll stay here and rebuild our world," smiling Blair adds. "Tommy?" He responds, "As long as we're together, there's nothing to fear." But their happiness doesn't last long, because suddenly, two creatures start moving toward them. Panicked, Tommy and Blair rush back into the house and slam the door shut. Blair peers out of the window and says they're attacking during the day now. "We don't have much time." Without wasting another second, they turn on gas cylinders inside the house. As the creatures break through the door, Tommy and Blair ignite them. In seconds, a massive explosion engulfs the house in flames. The two of them escape through the back door, watching as their only safe place burns to the ground. But they don't give up. Tommy says, "It's okay. We'll build another home." Blair nods in agreement before they can even catch their breath. A terrifying roar echoes from the mountains above. Both of them look up, fear written clearly across their faces. They glance at each other, realizing that this threat is far greater than anything they've faced before. But now, they also know together they can face any danger. It's this courage, it's an unbreakable bond that defines the spirit of this story. And that's where we leave our story for now. Will Blair and Tommy survive this deadly creature? Or is this the end for them? We'll find out in the next part, but that's all for today's story. Don't worry, we'll be back soon with another exciting and thrilling tale. As always, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next adventure.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.